of the condition that your image may be recorded and streamed to the internet, as well as being retained in the archive of the recorded council meetings and standing committee meetings. I now open the April 2024 Infrastructure Planning and Environment Committee meeting, the time being 5:30 p.m. The first item is IPEC 24/12, Acknowledgement of Country. Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Makatana Jang Maran Yanili Naramang Tabakawarari, Wilawarari, Mangawarari. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Burns. Next item is a leave of absence. I have a request from Councillor Chowdhury and Councillor Wright for a leave of absence. Can I have someone move that, please? Thank you, Councillor Goff, seconded by Councillor Wells. Any discussion or debate? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item, IPEC 24/14, conflicts of interest. Do I have any conflicts of interest to declare? There being none, I move on to the next item is IPEC 24/15 building summary. Can I have someone move the recommendation of the Director, Development and Environment, please? Thank you, Councillor Etheridge, seconded by Councillor Burns. Can I have any, do you want to speak to that, Councillor Etheridge?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any discussion or debate or questions, councillors, in relation to the building summary? No, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. So I'll just pause a little bit, councillors, because obviously there's always a delay when someone's remote. Next item, IPEC 24/16, the draft planning agreement for 19L and 20L Sheraton Road. Can I have someone move the recommendation, please? Thank you, Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor Burns. Do you wish to speak to that, Councillor Wells?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Discussion or debate, councillors? Councillor Black.
Thank you. It's interesting reading through the papers here, the massive increase in production and the trucking going past, back up onto the highway, like from 4 a.m. There's an extra potentially $22,000 a year going to council to maintain the road surface from an 830% increase in the trucks. But look, I'm just not really comfortable with it, because I know that we're not voting to approve a DA or whatever, but it does seem a bit of a departure from what was originally put there with the truck movements, the hours starting at 4 a.m. and going till 10 p.m. So I'm going to vote against it because of that, and noting that the development application later on could be approved by staff without coming back to council. But it just seems that there's going to be a whole stack of houses in that area in the next few years, and this would be in place then when we're looking at building other roads through that area to take traffic away from the schools and away from the future housing developments. So I'm just not enthusiastic about the whole project, so I'll vote against this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Just a minor one there, if you wish to. I mean, obviously, any DA can be brought to council with the signatures of 2 councillors, but you could also, if you wanted to, add an amendment on there that the DA for this particular project be brought back to council, and then if that was resolved by committees and went to council, then that DA would definitely come back without requiring the 2 signatures of councillors. Just an idea for you, that's all.
Yeah, thank you. Well, after anyone else has spoken, I might do that then. I'll foreshadow that amendment.
Thank you. Any other questions or debate, councillors? Councillor Ivey.
Just a question, Mr. Chair. The time frame that this is likely to extend over, compared to or in relation to the time frame for the likely development of the Blue Ridge bypass road, if we call it that, what are the relative timings of those?
Yeah, thank you. To Mr. Wood, to Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. Blue Ridge, well, the road is called Blue Ridge Link Road, which is the alternate route that we're talking about in terms of the trucks not going through the school zone. That's currently finalising design, and we would be anticipating that, well, it's next financial year that we've got budget allocated for that. So it would probably be in the likely range of 6 to 9 months before we start the works in that location.
And finishing, when might that be available for use?
It would be roughly, I would think, about a 12-month project construction time for that. So that's just the road that goes off Sheridan Road and then through into Blue Ridge, not the one out to the highway.
So to follow up on that question, Councillor Ivey, to Mr Ryan, once that road goes through Blue Ridge, we would expect these trucks that are on Sheraton Road now to start using that. So you're talking about, from those two timelines then, I worked out about 21 months. So by April 2026, we expect trucks to start going through Blue Ridge through that first stage rather than going Sheraton Road. That sound roughly correct?
Through you, Mr Chair. Yes, that's correct. And that road would then be the designated heavy haulage route as well.
So the first part of your answer, Councillor Ivey, I would say, let's say 2 years approximately, April 2026. And then the other part of your question was the life of this planning agreement. What's the expected life of this planning agreement to Mr Ryan or to Mr Wallace? Okay, thank you to you, Ms CEO. To Mr Wallace.
Question again.
Certainly. Mr Ryan has estimated that by April 2026 there'll be an alternative route for trucks to go away from Sheraton Road. And the second part of Councillor Ivey's question was the planning agreement. What's the expected time frame for the life of that planning agreement in this particular recommendation?
The planning agreement would cover the length of the operation, so it doesn't have a expiry date.
And do we have some idea of the estimation of how long that particular project would continue on for? Is it a 10-year, a 20-year, a 50-year project? Do we have any estimation in very broad brushstroke timelines?
Yeah, I would have to take that on notice. I know there's a significant deposit, but I would have to take that on notice.
Councillor Ivey, so that hopefully covers as much as we can. Answer to those two questions further.
Could a follow-up question then? So presumably the life of the project is more than 21 months. As you say, it's a number of 10 or 12 or 20 or 50 years or whatever it is. The obvious question is then, what's the implication for this planning agreement once the trucks start to use the Blue Ridge Link Road?
Thank you. Through you, Mr CEO.
I might throw to Mr. Tim Howlett to answer that question, who's online.
Thank you to Mr Howlett.
Thank you for the question. Through you, Mr. Chair. We do have a range of planning agreements also executed by Council where funding goes towards Sheraton Road and the maintenance of Sheraton Road. So we would have a scenario where all of that funding is going to Sheraton Road. If we did want to make it go to Blue Ridge Road, we would need to amend planning agreements because they've already been entered into and executed by Council.
So just adding from the CEO.
Yeah, and that would be my mutual agreement. And I guess the challenge we have, because it's not built yet, what does maintenance regime look like? So then we need to define that number once the road's built, and we could have an idea of the impact of the transport across that new road. So there'd be a new quantum. We wouldn't just be able to transfer the 22,000. We'd have to base it on actual transport across the new road as well.
So what I'd understand from that, Councillor Ivey, is that you would continue to collect this money and then there'd be a logical argument from the proponent when we start using a different road to say, well, I don't want to contribute to Sheraton Road anymore. Our planning agreement says that. It would need to then come back to Council to then have some sort of new agreement, again, by mutual agreement, as the CEO said. So I would say logically this would go for, say, 21 months, 2 years, thereabouts, and then it would need to come back to Council. Further questions, discussion?
Just a comment, it's a lot of discussion and a lot of debate about perhaps, $30,000 to $5,000 worth of money. That's all we're going to get over the 21 months. Anyway, okay.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Ivey. Councillor, sorry, was it Ivey? Okay, sorry, Councillor Martin.
Thank you. Just continuing on the discussion regarding the traffic onto the Blue Ridge Link Road once it's completed in 2026, I think it was just said. So given the high increase in the volume of trucks there, and there's obviously some traffic management planning happening at the moment onto the highway at the bottom of Blue Ridge, given the increase in the Bunnings building, et cetera, all these new inflated numbers being built into the planning for there. And do you think that that level of traffic is going to help our case for building the eventual outlet onto the highway further to the east?
Thank you, Councillor Mann. I'll go through the CEO to Mr Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, certainly the numbers that have gone into the traffic impact statement, which is looking at the current intersection that enters into the Blue Ridge Business Park, the numbers have been their current numbers, and based on the traffic impact assessments that have been undertaken for the recent developments. So it's taking on those new numbers and incorporating that into the new study that's been done. And I'll just point out that it is on our Your Say page as well, a copy of that report, so anyone can have access to that. But there's certainly current numbers from 2022 and 2023 to formulate that opinion on the functionality of that intersection. The second part of the question is, does that impact, or what impact that would have with the ultimate solution, which is the Southern Distributor, which then bypasses Blue Ridge and then connects out to the highway. That is our preferred ultimate route. That's why we've still got that. Transport are supportive of that as well. So I don't see that would have any negative impacts in terms of the road that we're currently proposing through Blue Ridge. That really, for me, is a temporary component until we get it all the way out to the highway.
Thank you, Mr Ryan. Councillor Mann, does that cover your questions?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Other questions or discussion, councillors? No? Councillor Black.
Thank you. Just my amendment to move now, and it says the following: that determination of development application D22-528 be undertaken at a council meeting. Full stop.
Thank you, Councillor Black. That would be point 5, I assume. So the first 4 would remain the same, and point 5 would be your point there. So good amendment. Can I have someone second that amendment? Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Do you wish to speak to your amendment, Councillor Black?
Yes, thank you. Just very briefly. Look, it is a substantial increase to the tracking hours there and the movements on that road. And I just feel that based on potential community concern further down the track, that it would be good to have that determined by councillors rather than just by delegated authority to the staff, as it's a fairly significant increase in truck traffic through that area where we haven't got that road built yet to sort of clear it more off a busy road and a road that's used by a lot of people, when there might be $30,000 or $40,000 contributed, but there may well be some more damage done, not sure, to the road that needs to be repaired. So that's just my thinking anyway. It'd be good to have that determined by councillors rather than just delegated authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. So discussion or debate about the amendment only, councillors? Any discussion or debate there? No. Councillor Wells, you do have a right of reply to the amendment, but there's probably not much to reply to in terms of the amendment.
No, thank you, Mr Chair.
So the amendment now, I'll put that. This is just point 5 to basically bring this back to council. All those in favour of the amendment? Against? Declare that carried. The amendment becomes part of the substantive motion, which is now the points 1 to 5. So further debate on the recommendation that sits before us, including point 5. Councillor Black.
Thank you. Look, I'll be happy to vote for this now that we've got that amendment in there to bring the DA back, noting that we not actually making a decision on allowing the extra truck movements, blah, blah, blah. This is just a planning agreement in case that's allowed further down the track and how it might operate then. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. No further. Councillor Wells.
Just a question possibly to clarify what the increase is, how many hours, how many additional hours. Can someone explain or clarify what it looks like, please?
Certainly. Happy to go through Mr Wood to Mr Wallace. Thank you, Mr Wallace.
Through you, Mr Mayor, that is not part of this report. That is a separate assessment being undertaken on the current application at the moment. So that will be part of the report back to council in due course.
Thank you, Mr Wallace. That makes sense, Councillor Wells. Councillor Ivey.
Just a question following on from Mr Wallace. So it'll be brought back to council, and that will form part of the DA? The conditions that are attached to the DA, is that right?
Thank you, Councillor Ivey. Through Mr Wood to Mr Wallace.
And through you, Mr Chair, definitely whether or not the assessment yields a condition of consent along those lines is yet to be determined. I know it's being spoken of, but certainly the consideration of vehicle movements and times and impacts on things like schools will be part of that DA.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Councillor Ivey, that satisfies that?
Thank you. Yes.
Further questions or debate on the 5 points in our recommendation before us now? Councillor Wells, you do have right of reply again for everything that's said now in the debate, if you wish to use it.
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
So we have that before us now. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item is IPC 24/17 draft planning agreement around a battery energy storage system. Can someone move that, please? Thank you, Councillor Ivey. Seconded by Councillor Burns. Councillor Ivey, do you wish to speak to that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to support the report and the recommendation that has been the subject of discussion with councillors before, and the agreement that's been forthcoming with councillors is good. I think the benefit that the community will get from the expenditure of those funds is it goes some way to offset the cost to the community of the move to a renewable. So I do support it.
Thank you, Councillor Ivey. Other questions or debate, councillors? No, there being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. IPEC 24/18 draft planning agreement Wellington South battery energy storage. Can I someone move that, please? Thank you, Councillor Goff. Seconded by Councillor Wells. Councillor Goff, you wish to speak to that?
Just a comment. Just good to see that a lot of that money will go towards youth and welfare, because there's a lot we could do in Wellington with that.
Thank you, Councillor Goff. Other discussion or debate, councillors? Councillor Wells.
I was just wanting to echo Councillor Goff's comments around the funds going to youth. I think it's really important that we focus on things that are in the Wellington community at the moment, and this is a really good outcome. So thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Wells. Other discussion? Councillor Black.
Thank you. Yes, there's some great programs out there that should make a difference, and hopefully led by the community and tailored to the community. It would be fantastic in Wellington. But also I'm looking at the years 6 to 20, and when the money can be spent on a whole range of other things, it could still be spent on youth and welfare support. But the infrastructure projects in Wellington would be fantastic. Instead of handing out like footy jumpers and those sort of things, just keep the sewer going, keep the water on, and improve the roads around there. It'd be great to see infrastructure upgrades into Wellington. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Other discussion, councillors, questions? No. Councillor Goff, you do have a right of reply if you wish to exercise it.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I put that now. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item is IPEC 24/19 Dubbo Regional Housing Roadmap, a progress report. Have someone move that, please? Councillor Black, seconded by Councillor Burns. Councillor Black, do you wish to speak to that?
Oh, just very briefly, it's interesting that, well, it's not really interesting, it's a bit of a shame really what's happened to the Australian new build housing market. I've been reading some articles over the last year or so, and that's really crashed to very low levels. And when you look through here, you see the number of DAs approved and the number of like complying development certificates approved and those sort of things. But there's just a real, well, it's sort of like the death of the building industry in Australia sort of at the moment, the new build industry for houses. So anything that can be done locally to kind of turn that around. I know that there's market forces and worldwide inflation of building costs all play into this, and with population growth we really do need to look at what we can do, and that's what part of this feeds into, the whole what can we do to provide housing at a constant rate, what people want, what the market wants, and what can we do to keep the supply up to keep housing affordable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Further questions or comments, councillors? No, there being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item is IPEC 24/20 Drinking Water Management System Annual Report. Can someone move that, please? Thank you, Councillor Black, seconded by Councillor Wells. Councillor Black, do you wish to speak to that?
I only to say that there's people turn their tap on and expect clean water to come out, and drinkable water, potable water, And there's an awful lot goes in behind the scenes to ensure that that happens. And it's a good report that lets us know where we're up to, and anyone who's interested can have a read of it, and I'd encourage people to do that. But there is a lot of work goes on behind the scenes to make sure that when you turn your tap on, that you got good quality water comes out. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Other questions or debate, councillors? Councillor Wells.
Just a comment, Mr. Chair, is that it's really pleasing to see improvements over time and the work that goes on from the council staff to with the systems that they're using to improve the response to any particular issues. So, yeah, really pleased to see that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wells. Other discussion, councillors? Councillor Black, not really much to reply to in terms of right of reply, so I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item is IPEC 24/21, disabled parking spaces on Brisbane Street. Councillor Etheridge moves, seconded by Councillor Black. Councillor Etheridge, do you wish to speak to that?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's probably really self-explanatory.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Anyone discussion or debate, councillors? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item, IPC 24/22, 2024 Central West Charity Tractor Trek. Councillor Etheridge, thank you. Move, seconded by Councillor Ivey. Councillor Etheridge again, wish to speak to that?
Now, once again, Mr. Mayor, it's self-explanatory.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Councillor Ivey.
I'd just like to call out the tractor track committee. I mean, it's a great event. It's a pretty specialised interest group, but it's great to see them putting on events like this.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Ivey. Other discussion or debate, councillors? Okay, Councillor Etheridge, probably not much to respond to for a right of reply. So all those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item is the IPC 24/23, which is confidential. Can I have, or marked to be confidential, could I have someone move to defer IPC 24/23 to be dealt with at the end of the confidential, or end of the committee meetings? Thank you, Councillor Etheridge, seconded by Councillor Wells. Discussion or debate, councillors, about that? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. As has been moved to deal with the confidential item after the Corporate Services Committee, I declare the Infrastructure Planning and Environment Committee closed, the time being 5:53 p.m. Councillor Goff, if you wish to come forward. Thank you.
I now open the April 2024 Culture and Community Committee meeting, the time being 5:53 p.m. Item CCC 24/17, leave of absence. I have an apology for Councillor Chowdhury and Councillor Wright. Can I have someone move the apology? Councillor Wells, second by Councillor Etheridge. Any questions or debate? All those in favour? I declare the motion carried. Item CCC 24/18, conflicts of interest. Councillor Black.
Yes, thank you. I'll declare a non-pecuniary significant interest in item or CCC 24/19, but the part of that will be PSTC 24/6, Miles Street tree removal. The nature of that interest is that the owner of 84 Miles Street is Bruce Comerford, my long-time neighbour. To remove the perception of any conflict, I'll leave the room while the matter is considered.
Thank you. Any other conflicts of interest? Item CCC 24/19, report of the Public Spaces Tree Committee meeting. Moved by Councillor Dickinson, second by Councillor Etheridge.
So save and accept. I'll move it and save and accept the item which is 24/6 PSTC 24/6.
Thank you. Councillor Black.
Just declare my conflict of interest as
Next one.
Just point of order, yeah, so not on that one yet.
That's my bad, councillors.
So what am I doing?
No, just moving it. Speak
Okay.
to the motion.
Moved by Councillor Dickerson. Secondly, Councillor Etheridge. Would you like to speak to that one?
No, I'm right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussions or debate?
So
Now,
move it.
all those in favour? I declare the motion carried.
So I'll now move 24/6 out of the Public Spaces Tree Committee, Councillor Goff.
Thank you. Seconder for Councillor Wells. Now, Councillor Black.
Thank you. I'll declare a non-pecuniary significant interest in this matter, and the nature of that is that the owner of 84 Mile Street is Bruce Comerford, my long-time neighbour. To remove the perception of any conflict, I'll leave the room while this matter is considered. Thank you.
Any discussions or debate on the item? No? All right. All those in favour? I declare the motion carried. Welcome back. Item CCC 24/20, report of the Youth Council meeting on the 19th of March. Moved by Councillor Wells, second by Councillor Burns. Councillor Wells, do you wish to speak to that?
Only to say that I wasn't present, so I'm unable to sort of make any commentary around it, but yeah, I'm happy to. Other than that, no, thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other discussions or debate? Councillor Ivey.
A question, Madam Chair, through you perhaps to someone. It just occurs to me, is there likely to be a role for the Youth Council following on from the previous discussion we had about the battery storage and the need to develop a youth program in Wellington? Is that something that the Youth Council should or could start to look at?
Great question. We'll put that through to Mr. Arms.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Councillor Ivey. Great question, great suggestion. We're really looking to really ramp up our youth council. I think it's below where we need it to be for a regional centre like us. I think we need to have a really vibrant and pushing youth council, and we're not there. And I really make a commitment to put every effort into getting us there and putting it in a position where it can contribute to the suggestion that you're making. So we'll certainly take that on notice as we build that up, yes.
Just a comment or a question following on from that, then, yeah, perhaps seeking to get some representation from the Wellington community onto that committee or a subcommittee of it or something, just to really give it some direction.
Through you to Mr. Arms.
Yep. We can certainly look into that, Councillor Ivey.
Any other discussions or debate? All those in favour? Oh, I declare the motion carried. As there are no further items, I declare the Community and Culture Committee meeting closed at time being 5:59 p.m.
I now open the April 2024 Corporate Services Committee meeting, the time being 6:00 p.m. First item, CSC 24/8, leave of absence in the names of Councillor Showery and Councillor Wright. Have someone move that, please. Thank you, Councillor Goff, seconded by Councillor Wells. Any discussion or debate, councillors? Being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against, declare that carried. Next item is conflicts of interest 24/9. Any conflicts of interest to declare, councillors? There being none, I move on to the next item. Councillor, so 24/10, Councillor Ivey, you've got an alternative motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, could I move that that it be noted that this item is a duplication of as the minutes of the Wellington Town Committee meeting held on the 26th of February 2024 were already considered and adopted at the ordinary council meeting on the 21st of March 2024.
So certainly that's your motion. Can I have some recommendation? If someone second that, please. Councillor Etheridge, you wish to speak to that, Councillor Ivey?
No, thanks, Mr. Chair. It's self-explanatory.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate, councillors? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against, declare that carried. Next item is CSC 24/11, the 2023-2024 Christmas New Year closure period. Can I have someone move the recommendation, please? Thank you, Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor Etheridge. Councillor Wells, do you wish to speak to that?
Only to say that it's a pretty good report, and it's obviously from last closure period. Good report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wells. Other discussion or debate, councillors? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against, declare that carried. Next item, CSC 24/12, monthly reporting snapshot for councillors. Have someone move that, please. Thank you, Councillor Burns, seconded by Councillor Black. Councillor Burns, do you wish to speak to that?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any discussion or debate, councillors? There being none, I put that. All those in favour? Against, declare that carried. Next item, CSC 24/13, the 2024 local government election update. Can I have someone move that, please? Thank you, Councillor Etheridge, seconded by Councillor Black. Councillor Etheridge, do you wish to speak to that?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a matter of recourse, yeah.
Have any discussion or debate, councillors, on that? Councillor Ivey.
Could I just make the comment that, again, welcome to the incoming councillors. We have got, 8? Those new incoming councillors will have 8 induction programs over a period of a week or a couple of weeks. That's a good hefty workload, but I'm sure that that the content of it will be really very worthwhile.
Are you declaring a conflict there? Councillor Ivey, sounds like you're trying to scare people off. Further discussion or debate, councillors? Councillor Black. And then Councillor Wells.
Thank you. I note the cost to run the election to the New South Wales Electoral Commission, $580,000 exclusive of GST. Look, there were a few problems last time, and hopefully they have managed to iron those out in the preceding, what will be 2 years and 9 months. Thank you.
And some other councils, Councillor Black had problems a lot worse than ours, had to rerun, I think, 2 different elections. So, yeah, that'd be pretty devastating to go through all that and have to do it all again. So, Councillor Wells.
Just sort of reiterating Councillor Ivey in terms of that it is a rigorous induction process, and I certainly don't want to scare people off. I think it's actually absolutely necessary, and I think from my own personal learnings from that process, it was really good learning, and very pleased to see such rigour placed around the training for new councillors at the time. And on top of that, I'm also hopefully we will see prior to that some more information sessions happening for those interested community members who have an interest in running for council at the next election. So, want to encourage community to have a think about having a stronger voice for your council area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wells. Other discussion or debate, councillors? Councillor Etheridge, you have a right of reply if you wish to use it.
No, thank you, Mr.
Okay, I have that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. The next item in the Corporate Service Committee is deemed to be confidential. And we've got the other confidential item which we deferred as well. Under Section 10A of the Local Government Act, The next two items, being IPEC 24/23 and CSE 24/14, have been identified as likely to be discussed in a closed session of council. Can I have someone move us into confidential session to deal with confidential items? Thank you, Councillor Etheridge, seconded by Councillor Wells. So we've had no applications from members of the public to make their representations regarding whether the meeting should be closed to the public. There's no one in the gallery, so I don't need to ask for anyone from the public gallery to make comments about that. Councillors, any questions or debate? No, there being none. I put that. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. We will now move into closed session, the time being 6:05 p.m. Please stop. Please start web streaming. The committee's returned to open session at 6:22 p.m. Welcome back. I will now read the resolutions from the confidential session of council. There were 2 items to go through. The first one is IPEC 24/23, tender to supply and place asphalt surfacing, Tamworth Street pavement reconstruction. Point 1, that the tender to supply and place asphalt surfacing, Tamworth Street pavement reconstruction be awarded to Bitchapave Limited, trading as Boral Asphalt, in accordance with Local Government Act 993, Section 55(3), for the amount of 348,603.73, including GST. The council delegate the Chief Executive Officer to approve the extension options if this contract is if required. The council delegate the Chief Executive Officer to approve contract variations for this contract subject to budget limitations. That all documentation in relation to this matter remain confidential to council. That all documentation in relation to this matter be signed under the common seal of council. In relation to CSC 24/14, value to negotiate with the Dubbo RSL for the old Dubbo Bowling Club update. In relation to this item, the recommendation from the committee is that point 1, the council agrees to sell proposed lot 102 on DP 1301426, being 3.3 hectares of lot 200 on DP 1280301, A, to Dubbo RSL Memorial Club Limited, ACN 000965355, or an associated entity. B, for the consideration outlined in the body of this report. And C, pursuant to terms outlined in the body of this report. 2, the council agrees to purchase 74 Windy Street, Dubbo, properly described as lot 415 on DP 754308, from Dubbo RSL Memorial Club Limited, ACN 000965355, for the consideration and on terms as outlined in the body of this report. That the contract for the sale of the property described in Resolution 1 and Resolution 2 above be executed under the common seal of council. 4, that the Chief Executive Officer be delegated power to execute any operational documentation relating to the finalisation of the sale of the property described in Resolution 1 and Resolution 2 above. And point 5, that all matters relating to this report remain confidential to council, with the exception of the sale price for lot 102 on DP 1301426, 3.3 hectares of Keswick land, and purchase price of 74 Windy Street, Dubbo, the former WC Bowling Club, upon the determination by council at the April 2024 ordinary meeting. There being nothing else to consider for this meeting, I now say, I'll just make sure I've got my wording correct. No further items for consideration. I declare the meeting closed, the time being 6:25 p.m. Web stream has now been completed. Thank you for your attendance.